The Boston Celtics finished Saturday's game against Memphis similar to how it began, in control. But it was the time in between that has to be of concern to Brad Stevens and the Celtics, who came away with a 10,293 win, while Boston 257 got the win. This was yet another game when the Celtics had long stretches in which they struggled at both ends of the floor. But the key to this victory was a 160 run to start the fourth quarter that put the Grizzlies 921 in a hole that they were never able to climb out of. Boston's 12 punch of Kyrie Irving and Al Horford were once again impressive for the Celtics, scoring 20 points and 15 points, respectively. The Celtics also got a strong game from Jason Tatum, who had a near double-double of 19 points and 9 rebounds. Memphis 921 was led by Marc Gasol's Gamma-high 30 points. The Grizzlies also got a strong performance from Tyreke Evans, who had 25 points. Boston's strong finish wasn't all but different than how they began the game in the first quarter. In the first, the Celtics looked like the team with the best record in the East, playing one of the league's worst teams, dominating play in every way imaginable. Tatum had 8 points in the quarter, which was more than he had the previous night when the Celtics lost 10,795 at home to the Utah Jazz. The Celtics' first quarter lead peaked at 21 points before the quarter ended, with Boston holding a commanding 3,112 lead. Now the second quarter, a totally different story. Boston went from working over the Grizzlies to just being plain woeful. And the issue was obvious: Boston's defense. After treating the lane as a do-not-enter zone for Memphis players in the first quarter, it was more like an EZ pass lane for the Grizzlies in the second, with one lightly contested drive after another. And when Boston began to plug that leak, Evans, a 42% three-point shooter coming into the game, began to heat up to bring Memphis within 4,840 at the half. But the second quarter was once again about as bad as you could imagine for the Celtics. Memphis' strong play in the second quarter continued early in the third, with the Grizzlies making it a 53-all game following a jumper by Gasol as part of the 135 Memphis run. However, the Celtics regained the lead moments later when Kyrie Irving found Aaron Baines open around the rim for a layup. Gasol hit another jumper, with Irving coming back with a three-pointer that put the Celtics back on top. Yes, the 21-point lead that Boston opened the first quarter with was a thing of the past now. The Celtics, led by Marcus Smart, went on a 90 run that gave Boston a 6,960 lead. But the Grizzlies bounced back with a 100 run to take their first lead since it was 54. The two went back and forth as the quarter ended with the Grizzlies ahead 7,371. The Boston Celtics got the win over Memphis, with the team's second unit chipping in for the victory. But they still have too many offensive lulls, something head coach Brad Stevens recognizes and, to his credit, is continuing to search for ways to address appropriately. We've seen him utilize a starter playing with the backups. But in Saturday's 10,293 win at Memphis, Stevens elected to play a pair of starters with the second unit for longer stretches, which on this night at least, helped them get the victory to extend their East leading record to 257. More, in fact, Boston had at least 2 starters on the floor in the fourth quarter for all but the final 28.4 seconds of play. It's one of those things, it's probably going to go back and forth. Stevens said, based on who's available. A key missing part of the Celtics bench rotation is Marcus Morris, who continues with rehab on his sore left knee. Morris, who did not make the trip with the team, is out indefinitely, although the Celtics maintain that he's close to resuming action. Stevens was asked about his use of Jason Tatum and Al Horford together, with a trio of reserves. If Marcus Morris is here, maybe you don't play either of them with that group. Stevens said. Morris has appeared in 16 games, 9 starts for the Celtics this season, averaging 12.1 points, 5.5 rebounds and 1.6 assists per game. Indeed, bench production has been an issue for the Boston Celtics all season. According to HooperStats.com, the Celtics bench came into tonight's game averaging 30.5 points per game, which ranked 23rd in the NBA. However, Boston's defense has limited second units to 32.6 points per game, which ranks 8th in the league. Against the Grizzlies, Boston only had 3 players off the bench score: Marcus Smart, Terry Rozier and Daniel Theis, who combined for 26 points. But as limited as they were scoring the ball, Memphis was even worse, with a second unit scoring total of just 15 points. Of course, rotations are a season-long, always evolving process that is dependent heavily on not just who is available, but how those who are available to play are performing. The Celtics' second unit has had their moments this season, but by and large the team's success has been heavily fueled by the play of the starters. Stevens has made it clear, he'll continue to find ways for those guys to be put in the best positions to succeed individually as well as for the Celtics. And as long as Morris remains out, you can expect Stevens will continue to find ways to fill that void with increased usage from his starters. As long as Marcus Morris isn't playing, Stevens said, we need to be alert to that and guys are going to have to play different rotations. Win or lose, strong play or a night of struggles, Jason Tatum's demeanor seldom changes for the Boston Celtics. That alone makes him a rather unique rookie. But then you see him play and have nights like the one he had against Memphis tonight, and you realize why this 19-year-old kid is so cool, calm and collected all the time. There's still a lot for him to learn about this league, but his talent, skill and feel for the game is uncanny, which against the Grizzlies helped Boston pull away in the fourth quarter for a 10,293 win. Tatum had a near double-double of 19 points and 9 rebounds with 7 points in the fourth, but a deeper dive is required to appreciate what he meant to the Celtics on Saturday and what his true value is for this team this season. I was trying to be in attack mode, get what the defense was giving me, Tatum said. Just trying to bounce back from Friday's 10,795 loss to Utah. His scoring, rebounding, defense and overall impact was as good as we've seen from him this season, a radically different showing than Friday night's 7-point performance, which included him missing 6 of his 7 shot attempts. He does a great job of having short-term memory, said Boston's Al Horford. Even in games, he might start a little slow and then he'll pick it up. That's a strength of his that's very rare for a rookie. A lot of times, with rookies, when things don't go their way, you can't count on them. With him, it's the opposite. Here are the stars, studs and duds from Boston's 10,293 win at Memphis. Stars: Mark Gasol. The Grizzlies gave the Celtics all they could handle, and Gasol had a lot to do with it. He led all players with 30 points on 11 for 19 shooting. Jason Tatum. There were others who had more points than the 19-year-old, but Tatum was clutch when the Celtics really needed someone to step up. He finished with 19 points, which included 7 in the fourth quarter, along with grabbing 9 rebounds to go with 2 blocks and 2 steals. Kyrie Irving. Once again, the Celtics' scoring attack was led by Kyrie Irving, who had a quiet 20 points on 7 for 17 shooting to go with 6 assists. Al Horford. While his ability to facilitate remains a strength, Al Horford came up with some big shots in the second half as the Grizzlies tried to rally back into the game. He finished with 15 points, 7 rebounds and 6 assists. Daniel Theis. Playing with a broken nose and an off-the-shelf mask to protect it, he'll get a fitted one soon. Theis had 5 points, 3 rebounds and 2 blocked shots in 14 minutes while playing good defense and providing some much-needed energy. Tyreke Evans. The former Rookie of the Year has made an amazing transformation into a reliable three-point shooter. That was just part of what was a really strong game from Tyreke Evans, who had 25 points. Duds. Celtics second quarter play. For the second straight game, the Celtics were at their worst in the second quarter. Fortunately for them, it didn't cost them the game, as was the case on Friday night against Utah. The Celtics were fortunate to only be outscored 2,817, which allowed them to maintain a 4,840 lead.